Hey everybody, how are you doing? As I predicted, yes, I predicted this. If you didn't see it, you missed Oakland news now when I said this was going to happen. I predicted that the magistrate judge for Northern California, Judge Joseph Spero, was going to dismiss the Raiders lawsuit and the city of Oakland's lawsuit against the Oakland Raiders in the National Football League. And that's precisely what he did today. And the reasons were as baffling as I said they would be. And if you want a little rehash of what I said on that particular Saturday of the 18th of April, it is right here. And I will show it to you right now, exactly what I said. And here it is in there, okay? And I will play it for you in fine fashion right now. Welcome to the jungle. This is what I said. And you probably can't hear it, can you? Hold on a second. Let's see what's going on here. It will help if I stop that there and then go back to, let's see. You probably can hear it, or can't you not hear it? Let's see what's going on here. There it is. Okay, cool. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you. It's 5 minutes.
Judge Joseph C. Spero, the magistrate judge for the Northern California court in San Francisco, is basically just playing prejudiced against the case, prejudiced against the city of Oakland's argument, and very well may be prejudiced against the city of Oakland's actions in attempting to recover some level of damages from the relocation of the Raiders to Las Vegas. Judge Spero consistently refers to the case in incorrect terms, and it's as if he doesn't know it. It's like he leaned on his law clerks to do the research for him, and he just sort of walked in and sort of winged it. For example, he says, and consistently refers to the relocation fee as a barrier. The relocation fee is not a barrier to entry for any city that would want to have an NFL team at all. The real barrier to entry, as you and I both know, are public subsidies and basically the cost to build a stadium for many cities, because the NFL prizes public subsidies, not just because they just want the money, but because of the simple, pragmatic fact that NFL football teams are so expensive they need that kind of cash liquidity. That's why.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there.
Spero didn't get that relocation fee, which was something spread to the owners, but you only get that by paying the public subsidy. And in the case of Las Vegas, the $750 million was something that the city of Oakland was encouraged to match. The real issue here is that everyone and their mother knows that the city of Oakland was being asked to do something that it didn't want to do in terms of spending a ton of public money.
Now I'm going to stop it right there, okay? And I'm going to show you this to buttress my point. This is the complaint. This is the document that was written by the judge, actually the judge's clerk, and released today. And I want to cut right to the chase, scrolling down regarding background. It reads factual overview. Okay, I want to emphasize this. This is what it reads, folks. It reads factual overview. Okay, factual overview. Listen to this. All right. The case concerns the Raiders' decision, formalized in a January 2017 request to the NFL to relocate from Oakland, California, where the Raiders play in a stadium known to as the Coliseum for many years, to Las Vegas, Nevada, despite efforts by Oakland to entice the Raiders to stay. Under the NFL's bylaws, any team relocation must be approved by a three-quarter majority of all 32 NFL teams, and such decisions must be approved by a three-quarter majority of all 32 NFL teams and such decisions often require the relocating team to pay a fee to the other teams. In March 2017, the team owners voted to approve the Raiders relocation with a $378 million fee. Oakland brings claims for violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act, breach of contract, and unjust enrichment. The factual allegations of the case are summarized in more detail. These are not the factual allegations of the case. All right. Right here, as I told you was going to happen, right here, written in this brief, released today, is where the judge, and I argue his law clerk, screwed up. Okay. And you can see this coming. Because, first of all, if this were written correctly, it would have been that the reason the Raiders left Oakland for Las Vegas was the passage of a $750 million subsidy. And I might add, the Raiders were not going to accept anything less. They were holding Oakland hostage. Take a look at this, okay? If you want to take a kind of a trip back into memory lane with this stuff, right? If you have doubts, here is the evidence right here, okay? Let's enlarge that so you can see it better. Right here, Las Vegas financiers are demanding a non-negotiable $750 million in public money for potential Raiders stadium. All right. Okay. All right. What's the date there? August 26, 2016. Who's in that photograph? Ooh, that looks like Mark Davis to me. In fact, it says so. It's Mark Davis. Ooh, okay. Backers of a $1.9 billion proposal for a new NFL stadium in Las Vegas for the Oakland Raiders are demanding $750 million in public money to fund the project, or else they will walk away. That's in black and white right there. You can read it yourself. This is not my publication. Okay, this is businessinsider.com. All right. And it says, and it's by the Associated Press. Why? Because it reads according to the AP. So let's click on that. Well, they're having trouble finding the site because, hey, server not found. They got problems with their server. It's that pandemic, folks. At any rate, maybe they didn't pay their server bill. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, it says, according to AP, representatives of Majestic Realty and Las Vegas Sands met with an oversight committee in Las Vegas on Thursday, where they unveiled the first renderings of the 65,000-seat domed NFL stadium. They said they had narrowed down the search to 2 potential locations near the Las Vegas Strip. They also said they would move on from the project unless state lawmakers agreed to contribute a minimum of $750 million in public money. Quote, not to be difficult, but we're negotiable, said Sands President Rob Goldstein, speaking on behalf of billionaire casino mogul Sheldon Adelson. If we can't get $750, we will respectfully thank you, but we're going to move on. The public money would reportedly come from a special taxation district around the proposed stadium and a hotel tax. All right. Public funding would come from an increase in a Las Vegas area hotel room tax and potentially from a special taxation district around the stadium, which they should have done because the Raiders would have had more money during the pandemic, not to mention just a little bit more for contingency, right? In fact, this is something that I suggested to the Raiders, including Mark Bedane and Dan Ventrelli and their banker, Elliot McCabe, who nodded in agreement when I said it at 2009 CES Raiders sponsor party. But I digress. It would be negotiable. It would be so negotiable. It wouldn't even be worth being concerned about, talking about the so negligible. Talking about the increase in the hotel tax. It would be so negligible. It wouldn't be worth being concerned about. Should Vegas officials agree to move forward with the stadium, and they did, it would be the most public money ever put toward a stadium. Perhaps unsurprisingly, then the proposal has been met with stark criticism, and there's been a lot of conversation on why we're giving money to billionaires. Stephen Hill, chair of the Oversight Committee and head of the Nevada Governor of Office of Economic Development, told the Associated Press, public is not making a contribution to a privately owned stadium. But actually, it's a general obligation bond, so the public was. All right, so you know the rest, okay? Now, here's the deal, okay? That's the hurdle. Want proof that, want more evidence that that's the hurdle? Let's take a look at the term sheet that Ronnie Lott had brought forward that I presented to everybody, okay, in this video blog that I made some years back, I might add. And let's...
Which means that, and this goes to something that Nate Miley said to me regarding the city's ability to enjoy a huge upside from the deal. This is it. They're exchanging the land. Remember that 99-year ground lease in exchange for future participation in gathering revenue from whatever's developed on the site.
This was the, I'm going back here because this is the term sheet.
Right there.
This is the Ronnie Lott term sheet.
Here we go. Right there. Bam. Bam, as they say. See that? So here we go. All right, folks. We've got public investment here to pay for public site improvements and infrastructure at the Coliseum site. Stadium property tax, $70 million. Stadium but-for taxes. And what that means are taxes collected but for development. All right? And other revenues. Basically, the language, and I did read the document, says that they're going to determine what revenues to earmark and then split between the Lott Group, Fortress Group, and the city and the county. All right, so that hence the but for. All right, and monetized by private placement bond. Both of them will be private placement bonds, meaning the city and the county will not have to pay those bonds off if they default. Cool.
I'm going to stop it right there. Okay, the reason for that, folks, was very simply this: because the whole purpose of that structure was to protect the city from any bond default. By contrast, the Las Vegas Clark County State of Nevada bond issue, all right, is a general obligation bond. What does it mean? It means it rests on the general fund of Clark County. So what happens when, in about a year, the debt service reserve for the stadium bonds dries up? Technically about, not about a year, but basically it'll be $15 million in a year. And by 2022, it will dry up. At that point, it will look to, because it's a general obligation bond, it's already in the belly, if you will, the financial belly of Clark County. It will look to funds to help it out, and will find the fund is dry. Why? Because as I speak to you, there's already a projected Clark County budget deficit of $1 billion. $1 billion. Okay? So it's going to fall back on the taxpayer. The idea in the perfect world was to have this money come in at just 1.5 debt coverage ratio. In other words, not even 2 to 1. In other words, for every dollar of debt, they're only taking in, or trying to take in, 50 cents more. That's it. Not $1 more, which is the standard. Okay? No. And they thought they had this. They tell, oh, we got this, Zinni. You're talking about it's never going to happen. We're never going to have a problem, Zinni. Yeah. Even though I told them all the way back, as far back as 2016, hey, you know what? You know what? Your bond issue has a rate for the hotel tax that is too low. Oh, yes, and don't tell me I didn't say that, because the evidence that I did say that is here, my friend. It is all right here that I tried to tell them over. It's over at zenny62blog.com that was exactly the case. But they kept telling me I was wrong. And some of you out there who keep saying, well, Zinni, how come you keep raising? Because of the number of times I always said I was wrong, didn't know what I was talking about when I was actually trained to do this sort of thing, going back to college and then grad school and then intern with the city of Oakland. Okay. I mean, it's like, oh, hey, don't listen to the black guy. That's the underlying message they try to pull out. But you know what? Never judge books by their cover. Because you will always come up with egg on your face. And I consistently tried to tell them, I'll put it this way, folks, okay? If they had listened to me early on, when Mark said come up with a plan for Oakland, for the Coliseum, and they had listened to me and listened to my comments about Las Vegas, they would have been 700 million up today. On top of the PSL money they got, they would have been $1 billion up today. But they didn't listen because they thought they had it. The little cabal thought they knew the whole thing. All right. So you want to understand what motivates me, aside from the fact that this has been really great for my media company? It's the fact that if you tell me that I'm wrong about something, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna let you know when it turns out, because especially if it's for your own good. This was for their own good. So it's like I even tried to tell Ronnie Lott about, he's a friend, but I tried to tell him, hey, you know what? Give the NFL the land. He said, you're nuts. I said, I'm not nuts. Because then you can have the tax increment financing system work for you in terms of financing. But hey, anyway, it's always better to do your own deal. That's why he always said, you know what? Take those brains and use them on yourself because no one else cares. He's right. They work. My brains work for me. Now, what I'm looking for is Raiders hotel tax. Hotel tax right here. I'll show you what I'm talking about real quick. Hope everybody is well. Let me get your comments while I'm waiting for that to come up. Raiders SP, how you doing? He says, I've been telling you Mark was to blame for this move a long time ago, but I'm over it. I'm still a Raiders fan, not a Mark fan. Gotcha. I'm a Raiders fan too. Raiders SP says, this is Mark's issue now. He should have known this. And then he goes on and say, well, that's on Mark and the city for not listening. It's their issue. You're absolutely right. And he says, well, congrats for being right. But since when did Mark ever listen to anybody? That's funny. That's funny. Touche. Okay. So here, where was I here? 2018, 2017. Here we go. November 27th. Actually, I said it before then. I said it before then. Oh, here we go. Okay. April 17th, 2017. All right. That was when I simply informed anyone that even would not listen that, bam, right here. See that? I'll enlarge it for you. Bam. Clark County hotel tax for Las Vegas Oakland Raiders Stadium should be 1.4%. Okay? All right? Okay? That's me telling you. Okay? April 17th, 2017. Okay? Have a listen.
On Saturday, I made a law that showed that the Clark County expected revenue from the hotel tax increase for the Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Stadium would not be great enough to actually service the bond debt associated with a $750 million issue from the Stadium Authority by way of Clark County. The problem is that, first of all, the $50 million that was quoted in, for example, Las Vegas Sun as projected revenue wasn't really that. It was desired revenue. It goes back to the May 28th, 2016 meeting of the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Committee, where, and this happened several times, and actually even the year before, that amount was presented as what Clark County could offer, if you will, or stadium. Here's the problem. If you take 50 million times 30, that's 1 billion 500 million. Okay, but the $750 million bond issue will call for a debt service of 1.1 billion 301 million, assuming 30-year bond debt, 4% interest rate. Might even be higher than that, but let's just be generous and say 4. Okay, annual payments over a 30-year term. Now, and that's using the debt service calculator put out by the Massachusetts government, available online. I referenced it in my blog, and I'll provide a link to it, as well as a spreadsheet that I created to analyze the Las Vegas Stadium Authority Clark County bond issue. So the problem is that when the designers of the tax rate went to work, they looked at the debt service, but they didn't include the debt coverage ratio beyond the debt service. If they had at, let's say, the debt coverage ratio of 2, they would have had a total revenue stream need, or target, if you will, of approximately $2.6 billion.
Right. I'm going to stop you right there and emphasize this point, because that was April 17th of 2017. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, of which Stephen Hill, the same Stephen Hill runs, knows that their edict by that board is to design a bond issue, including the one for the stadium, the convention center expansion, which is gorgeous, of 3 to 1. 3 to 1, okay? 3 to 1. Not 1.5 to 1, 3 to 1. Why was the Raiders bond issue designed that way? It was designed that way because they knew they needed a hotel tax rate. They were trying to get it as low as possible so they could get it politically approved. So they played all kinds of games through Hobbs and Ong, their financial advisor, to size the bond so that it could have a low rate when really it needed to be higher. All right, that's why. So my point in all of this exercise is coming back to the judge's decision, is that it immediately went off the rails when it didn't pay any attention at all to the public money issue and paid attention only to the relocation fee. Now, the question is, why would they pursue an antitrust strategy in that way? Well, as I understand it, the idea was because if you win an antitrust case, you get treble damages. So let's say the damages are $600 million. What's 6 times 3? That's 18. It's $1.8 billion, right? There you go. Okay. It didn't work. So now they have to hope for breach of contract and move forward from there. This was never a situation regarding the name and colors. Arguably, however, if in the perfect dream world, the verdict had been just that, and there was every reason to believe that if the judge understood the case, it could lead to a court trial which could get close to that. All right, but he didn't. If that was the case, okay, there was every reason to believe that, but in a perfect world, okay. But if we had gotten, then the possibility of something like that might have come on the table. But if you consider the time lag in terms of the trial and its end, it's really difficult to conceive of a situation where the Raiders would suddenly strip themselves of their name and colors, give them to some new team in Oakland, and then rebrand themselves like that. Not without a fight from the NFL, let alone the Raiders themselves. Not without a screaming and kicking Mark Davis, tossing baseball bats around every place else, and basically doing Harry Carey moves to the mirror of anybody he thought represented Oakland. So no, that wouldn't be happening. Um, this isn't a matter of fandom, okay? Because of the way this was handled. Because like Raiders SP says, I'm a Raiders fan. They will always be just the Raiders to me. What you should always be concerned with is what you attach your allegiance to in terms of behavior. In a sense, you said it. That's Mark's thing. That's not me. But it's very wrong to structure a situation that pits fans against each other, divide and conquer, because technically that's what Mark has done, right? Now, it is also difficult, I have to admit, emotionally, to come away and not feel some affinity for the outcome if you ride with the idea that the ends justify the means. And what I mean by that, in terms of the ends justifying the means, is this extremely beautiful, if you will, doodad here, okay? That right here, all right? This one. That, as depicted there. That doodad that was there but isn't there because somehow they did something weird with the live cam that sometimes it comes up and sometimes it doesn't. Very weird. This is me show you what I'm talking about, okay? There it is. All right. Boom. That. Okay. There's no denying it's beautiful. It's the Raiders Stadium, and Allegiant is, enjoying seeing their name on at least part of it, right? And it's still got a long way to go in terms of opening, from seat installation to piping, wiring operations, to just look at the grounds themselves. So another 3 months from now, we take a look. This is tomorrow will be May. So the one thing that they got right is that the roof will be finished by May. It's almost done. You can tell it's not completely done. All right, it's almost done. But it's also not. It's also difficult, not difficult to imagine this if it were in Oakland. Because if it were in Oakland, it would have fewer sponsorship revenue problems because the sponsorship mix would be more tech. Let's say instead of the Allegiant Stadium, it was the Apple Stadium or the Facebook Stadium. Let's say instead of Caesars Entertainment Gate, it was Google Gate. Let's say instead of PPG Paint, well, PPG Paint would still be on it, possibly. But let's say instead of MGM Resorts Gate, it was YouTube Gate, right? Or PayPal, or you name it. LinkedIn. Get the picture? A tech presence. Thank you for zooming in. A tech presence would have ensured a stronger sponsorship base. Right now, you got 3 sponsors. You got San Manuel Casino, MGM Resorts, and Caesars Entertainment. They're all cash-strapped. So they're not going to announce, hey, we can't go with this sponsor, because that would be embarrassing. But don't think they've tried to figure out ways to massage the problem. And then, of course, there's Allegiant. That situation does not exist to the same degree in tech in California. And for the Raiders to walk away from that at this time, well, you be the judge. All right? So Richard Hike says there's so much around the Bay Area. Salesforce, thank you. Salesforce, Tesla, Clorox, the list goes on. Yep, that's right. All of which the Raiders, could have had. But hey, they thought they knew better than everybody else. Okay. All right. And now this situation. And folks, this situation is not a good one because it spells a. Richard said they never even tried. No, they didn't. They did not. Okay, they did not. Dustin Scott says, "This is just depressing, man. Sad, sad, sad. My lifelong team gone. Dustin, I'm sorry." And yeah, it's depressing that you have a situation where people were forced to take sides. It would have been a lot better if Davis had been open with everyone and said, "Hey, look, I want to sit down with you. I want to show you side by side where we are with Oakland, where we could be with Vegas. I'm giving Oakland this much time. I'm going to Vegas because I think gambling can work, but the law needs to change here, here, and here." That would be open. All right. But didn't happen. Kimberly says, "I look photos of Coliseum City, would have gone with that if I were the owners, Raiders, and other Oakland teams." Yeah. No, I mean the various versions of Coliseum City that were presented. There was, I think, the latest one was from by Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill, and that was presented at the town hall that Oakland Mayor Libby Schaff held in 2017, when just before the NFL vote. That proposal was one that was designed. It was based on an old concept regarding retaining the Raiders, but it was just upgraded, sort of a placeholder. The bottom line is that the Raiders had never intended to stay in Oakland. Everything was set up as a straw person. It may very well be. Okay. It may very well be. Here's Coliseum City. That the other developer group that the city and county work with, it may very well be, since they're all NFL players or former NFL players, that maybe it was just a front. Because the minute, and I say that in full knowledge of who may be watching this, okay? Because that organization had not any prior stadium experience and hasn't done anything since. And except if you take a look at where, for example, Marcus Allen went to, among others, what did they do the first moment they got? They helped promote the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. Now, a developer that normally loses like that doesn't do that. I repeat, a developer that normally loses a competition doesn't go and root for the building that his competitor built. You understand what I'm saying? So my point is, you can't help but think, hey, maybe you don't want to think that way about the possibility, but it looks, you tell me why it doesn't look like that. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying. All right? So Dustin says COVID is probably Allegiant Stadium's best friend from a timeline perspective. Less traffic, free loads for logistics, and a likely delayed this season. I agree. I completely agree with you, Dustin. That is, I mean, look, right now, the other thing that I don't like, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, is Las Vegas has been jonesing for a large-scale event center for some time, all right? Jonesing for it. And this predates the Raiders. What happened in the case of the Raiders and Las Vegas and Mr. Adelson, who I have always admired, I love the Venetian and the Palazzo. And I love what he's done for Las Vegas, along with the gentleman that was the developer from New York, New York. Those two hotel developments really paved the way for the transformation of Las Vegas into what it is today when it's healthy. The adult Disneyland. But what Mr. Adelson didn't like was that enormous 3-to-1 bond issue design that the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority would use like a whip, quite literally whipping the Las Vegas economy into its own design. And from Adelson's perspective, harming his Sands Expo. And I say from his perspective because I contend as an annual attendee of CES Press that a growing CES, which is caused by expansion of the convention center, which is owned by the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Bureau, actually benefits Mr. Adelson's properties, which are privately owned. But that's another discussion. Okay, so where we go from here is we root for Las Vegas to recover. We root for the stadium to be finished and open because it's good for the region there. They wanted it for some time, and we will get to a point where we do events again. I seriously doubt it will be on the scale that we've done them in the past because of what we're going through now. This is a major worldwide game changer. Think about it. I'm sitting here talking with you in this device, this software as a service, and hey, we're talking about and I'm presenting to you information that in the past could only be done in a room someplace. Now, this is virtual with 23 people in attendance and more beyond that who will view it when this is done or hear it in a podcast style. That's powerful. It's very powerful. And the fact that we're all doing it now, even though we have the shelter in place that has been removed in Georgia, we need to stay in anyway, is going to spell a wind down of how we've done conventions. Look at what's happening with Dreamforce. Dreamforce is going to do something that's virtual, and that's in November. That means that 171,000 people that came to San Francisco will not be doing that. It's not that they're not going to have Dreamforce again in the future, but these systems to have these virtual meetings will be not the dismantlement, but it will be the downsizing of the meetings, incentives, entertainment, conventions and entertainment industry, or the MICE industry, as it's called. And if you're overexposed in that industry as a city, then it's going to take a while for you to recover economically, and that is where Las Vegas is. And can sports do it? I think sports can help, but I think sports' best future is in gambling, and that's another conversation. Richard Hike says, here's one for you. I think college sports will be hugely affected next year. There may be no draft next year. That's interesting. Richard, I'm coming to you to do a quick live stream. I'm going to do that right now. Folks, I thank you for tuning in. We're going to take this up later tonight. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube, and God bless everyone. God bless you all. And I want to close by saying one thing that I don't want to be forgotten here in all of this, okay? And it's simply this. First of all, this thing I'm about to present to you is that there. Look at that power. Keep an eye on this, folks. You're going to see the stadium. The sidewalks are coming in. It's a beautiful work in progress. It really is. It's the Mandalay Bay sign. Uh-oh, are we going to see examples of people not social distancing properly? Oh my God, look at that. Oh my Lord, look at that. They're not social distancing. Oh my Lord, and they're coming out of the stadium. Oh, look at what you just saw. Ah! I didn't plan that, folks. It just happened. Interesting way to close. Okay, so it's a beautiful structure, and it's going to do a lot of good for Las Vegas and the region. So let's root for those workers and hope that these folks are not sick. But you have 7 people that have been diagnosed with COVID-19, and yet they're still not social distancing. Wow. Well, I don't know what to say except try to figure out a positive way to close here. And so I'll choose this. Live long and prosper. It's the best I got. God bless you. I'll see you all later.